Dan, welcome to the programme. Fantastic reporting from Reuters. Just walk me through how you perceived that reporting, just the idea that they have this degree of confidence just ahead of the IPO roadshow. They can just set the price ahead of time.
Yeah, look, I think it speaks, I think Lisa hit on an important topic. I mean, on the private side, you're talking about the price discovery. So much of that's been there on the private side if you go back over the last few years and even the last few months. But this just it's a showing of confidence, because the reality is it's going to be a watershed event in terms of the space sector for Musk. And it just speaks to our view. I mean, records will be broke over the coming weeks, whether it's the Knicks or SpaceX IPO.
Dan, you've lost Emery, or actually you've gained her. She's going to go all mug with you. I'm curious, though, how much this is going to set the tone for Anthropic or OpenAI, or whether that's going to ultimately be a very different story than SpaceX.
I think different in some ways, just given the AI arms race, Anthropic to OpenAI. But look, it's a tone setter, because this is going to be really a tidal wave of IPOs, and obviously it starts with SpaceX. And look, it speaks to our view about the fourth industrial revolution. And that's more, I think, how SpaceX is going to be viewed on the AI data side. Of course, on space, but it's really a convergence that you're seeing, and it's Musk. I mean, you're buying Musk, and it goes back to like those that went against Musk and Tesla. Those have been the historically wrong bets if you go back.
Yeah, you're buying Elon Musk at the very cheap price of $960 billion. Meanwhile, you are seeing a number of different companies start to put limits on how much of some of these AI tools they're using, just because the costs are getting so high. Yes, you're seeing incredible earnings from the likes of Anthropic, or even some of the other big giants. At the same time, Uber, for example, set a monthly cap because things were getting so out of control. Does that make you concerned?
Yeah, look, I mean, you're going to have some caps in some situations. Then some companies are ultimately going to have to, they're going to look at more, volume across the enterprise. If you look at how it's being deployed in a lot of companies, it's department, not enterprise. And I think as you go more enterprise-wide, it speaks to the use cases that are going to explode. And we've talked about Palantir, Snowflake. You've seen a Datadog on the software side. You're now seeing it continue to play out. Cybersecurity will be a tangential there. But look, it's third inning, one out in terms of this AI game. And I think we're still early in terms of the spending cycle. And you're going to have, call it, 3 to 4 trillion spent over the coming years, with so many winners and the derivatives now playing out. And it's our view that this is really just still the early stages of the AI revolution.
Dan, what did you make of the president's executive order yesterday, asking these technology companies to voluntarily give the government basically oversight of any new models that they come out with?
Look, I think it's a tightrope, because it's a balancing act what they're doing. You got to put guardrails in some way. Now, you don't want overreaching, because to some extent, especially the arms race in China, that could definitely, put sand in the gears. And look, from a politician perspective, you don't want, there's many politicians, you don't want politicians still using BlackBerries that are the ones determining AI model technology. So I think that's part of the balance here, but I think it's smart. You have to have some sort of government, at least quasi-oversight, but a lot of it's going to be self-regulation from the industry.
I actually loved my BlackBerry, but if we keep on what the government is doing, Trump had promised a hands-off approach. So do you think this is the first of many steps potentially to taking a more assertive approach when it comes to AI?
Look, I think a lot of this is the PR, and we've talked, it's the big PR problem that tech has. If you keep talking about job losses and some of the AI alarmism that's going on, this is what you get, right? I saw at a Milken conference in terms of how many politicians were there that I spoke with. And look, it is about, you cannot just have it go fully unchecked. I think it's call it a baby step move. I don't expect this to be any sort of overreaching, but I think it's smart. You need to have some sort of quasi guardrails or some sort of, oversight in terms of what's going on with what's really going to change the consumer and enterprise lifestyle and economy over the coming years.
Dan, do you think Altman's kind of getting it now by putting some daylight between him and Anthropic and the way he talks about the future of this technology?
100%. Because I think you're seeing a change. Look, we've seen shift changes if you go back years ago. Look at Zuckerberg back 17 and now. So you're definitely seeing tone shifts. And I think it's important because if you keep going out there telling people they're going to lose their jobs and their electricity bills are going to go higher, I mean, you'll have AI under long TSA lines in terms of surveys. So I think this is a smart move, what they're doing. And it's the reality. We continue to think a lot of the job loss stuff, I think it's overdone relative to the reality. And it comes down to, like, get the popcorn out, SpaceX, OpenAI, Anthropic. It's going to be a super interesting few months. Historical for the market.
Without a doubt. Let's see how it turns out. Dan, it's good to see you, sir.